Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers and we're coming to you live tonight from Imola for the Sim Racers Asia GT3 Clubman Championship. Sorry for the late sign-on, we've had some technical issues here, but hopefully we'll be able to call this race, and it will be starting in the next 1.5 minutes. So let's have a look at our point score. So at the moment, Narinjan Kumar is leading the way for Eurasia Sim Sports on 57 points, followed by Mark Lang, again Eurasia Sim Sports, on 56 points. Gary Cousins, Laser Racing Simulator Team, on 55, followed by Daniel Leeton, fourth, again Laser Racing Simulator Team, on 49 points. And rounding out your top 5 is Nuno Pierre Tang for Macau iRacing Team on 47 points. Now, a bit of information here tonight. The race is expected to go for 26 laps, and we can expect one pit stop for most of the drivers here. Now, the pit stop's going to take about 36 seconds, and they're going to want to do a splash and dash and probably take on 10 litres of fuel. So that's 36 seconds from time they come in to when they go out, and 10 litres of fuel. But expect some guys will try to do this as a one-stop splash and dash, and some are going to try to do this without a pit stop. We saw that last week, and I'm sure we'll see it again this week. If they do have to do this without a pit stop, they're going to sacrifice time. Now, they've got about 1.4 seconds of time that they can sacrifice and still win this race. So keep a very close eye on that tonight. Also keep an eye on the first chicane. The Clubman Championship, well, they always bring on excitement, and I'm sure they're going to do it again. We saw it last week at Watkins Glen, we saw it the week before at Road America, and I'm sure we will see it again here tonight. So we're just waiting now for qualifying to finish, and then I'll take you through the field. Now, unfortunately, it's only me in the comm box tonight. Our good friend Mr. Adrian Jarvis is having a bit of a break tonight after last night's big call. We were up very late, a very long broadcast. If you missed it, we brought you the SRT V8 Supercars endurance race here from Imola, and we were on air for over 5 hours last night. So if you like your V8 Supercars, check out our channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/c/RRTV live, and you can catch all the action from there, as well as the highlights from the previous round. So we've still got a few guys out there on the track, and we've got Leonardo Lopez here, just finishing. He's sitting in second at the moment, and he's trying to improve his time. And we'll see if he can do that. He'll come across the line now. He's the last car out there, so expect us to grid very shortly after he crosses the line. Can he improve on that time? The answer is no, he can't. So he'll be starting from second tonight. That time was, well, it wasn't counted, so he must have had an off-track. So while they're gridding up, let's take you through the field tonight. So we've got Peter Sattler in the Ford GT3 sitting on pole position, a 1:43.259, followed by Leonardo Oliveira in the Mercedes. Then we've got the first of the BMWs with Naranjan Kumar, followed by Lance Hawes. Welcome back, Lance. He missed last round. In another BMW in fourth. Fifth will be Nuno Tang. Starting out of 6 is Alex Pole, followed by Phil White out of 7th. 8th, Gary Cousins. And then we have 9th, Martin Houston, followed by, in 10th there, Gene Newell. Starting out of 11th is Au, followed by Tixera. Then we have Mark Lang. Then we have Cardoso starting out of 14th. 15th is Bocade. 16th Booth, followed by Fu. Then we have Park starting out of 18th. Out of 19th tonight is Just, and then out of 20th is Lee. Out of 21st will be Price, and then 22nd, Utri, and then Shung will be out of 23rd, and then rounding out our field of 24 is Callahan. So while they're greeting up, I'm going to hopefully restart our overlays. I've had a lot of trouble with these tonight, and that's why we were so late coming on, because the darn things crashed the computer, and it looks like they're going to work for us tonight. So as I said, expect some action here tonight in the first couple of corners, and once that normally after the first big incident, things settle down into a good pace, and then we can expect about 26 laps of great action here tonight. As far as the weather goes, let's have a quick look at that. Okay, so the skies are clear out there today. 13 degrees 13 kilometres per hour, but look at that temperature, track temp 38 degrees Celsius. I'm sure that's going to affect their tyre wear. Last night here it was 28 degrees, so it's a lot hotter today than it was yesterday. Of course, it's a rolling start here tonight, folks, so as we're used to in GT3 racing. Okay, so we'll be rolling here very, very shortly. We'll jump up and have a look at our leaders. So Leonardo Lopez will be starting out of second, and we can see the field now starting to roll. We've actually got a car stopped back there. Hasn't even made the start, so that's going to really cause confusion here tonight. Let's hope he can get that car started, and he can. So he'll have to do a bit of catching up here, but that is our pole sitter that was having trouble getting that car going, so let's keep an eye on that. So the field is well and truly spread out here. It's going to be a very messy start, and now they're just starting to form up, and we're waiting for starters' orders here. Going green very shortly. I think Leonardo's going to get a good run from this position, and we're waiting for green. We've got green now. Messy start here at Imola, but we're underway. 45-minute time certain race. Hold your breath, folks. Here we go into the first corner, and let's make sure we've already got a car into the grass and into, there we go. A huge crash here at Imola. You know, what did I say? We're expecting it, and unfortunately that's turned around the Bico entry. We've also got that BMW off the track, and that looked like that was Phil White getting it all wrong there. Meanwhile, out front we've got Leonardo Lopez leading the way here in that big Mercedes. We've got a BMW right behind him, well, two BMWs. That's Lance Hawes. Good start from Lance there. He started in fourth, I think, already up to third. Then we've got Tang there in fifth, followed by Alex Pohl, the first of the Audis, sitting there in sixth for Delta Simsport. And unfortunately, it looks like one of our cars is already retired, and that's Tom Callahan out of the 04. That might have been the car that we saw in all sorts of trouble. Kim Kyong Ao was the car that spun in front of that field, unfortunately, and he's in getting that car repaired. But see there now, Lance Hawes moving up into second position, as we just saw in the background there. Naranjan Kumar there out braking himself. It sounds like he's got problems there with the with his pedals or something. It's not sounding very nice at all. But he's sitting in third, and then we've got Tang right behind him now challenging. Huge gap though between these guys and the rest of the field. See again, Kumar going deep there. It's just, I'm not sure what's going on there, but it just doesn't look right to me. But meanwhile, it's Leonardo Lopez up front, followed by Lance Hawes in second position. So it's interesting to see how the BMWs go here tonight, and they're quite strong last week. And, you know, as this race progresses, I expect them to be moving up there. See Pete Sadler back here in the Ford GT3, sitting in 11th at the moment, and with a bit of work to do in that car. You can also see Mark Lang has had some issues out there. That was the car, I think one of them, it could have been that one or his sister car, had that problem at the start, and he's had to have that car towed back. So he's sitting all the way down in 22nd. We can see Kim Kyung Ao from that incident. He's still in the pits getting that car repaired. But all the action is out the front here with Leonardo leading the way. A live gap there back to Lance Hawes. 1.7 seconds is that gap at this stage. They've spread that gap out quite a bit. If we have a look at the live scoring now, we can see Naranjan just coming across the line. He's 4 seconds down from the leaders at this point, followed by Niranjo Tang. And then we've got Frederico Duarte, Joaquim da Roca Teixeira. We'll call him Fred, I think, tonight. He rounds out your top 5. He's 8.8 seconds down at the moment. And I'm looking through the field here, folks, and they're all spread out. The closest battle is back here between these guys. We've got Barton Houston challenging Rolf Just, and right behind him is Phil White. So Rolf has a lot of work to do to get back up front, but at the moment his hands are full, just fending off Barton Houston in the Mercedes, and their sister car, Phil White, right behind them. Carlos Foos in the background with Jeffrey Price, and there we go, we've got the 24 around. Just trying to get that number of that car, who that person was. There was Adam Utri there having a bit of a spin. He's got that car going again, but we'll jump to the replay and we'll have a look at this. See there, he's just gone in a bit too hot. The back end's come around, which happens on these Mercedes. They tend to lose that rear end if you go in too hot. That's dropped him down to 21st position, but as we come back to this battle with Rolf Just here defending, he's defending against Carlos Fu now. Carlos is having a look on the inside. It looks like Rolf has lost that battle to Martin and Phil, and it looks like he's going to lose it to Carlos if he's not careful. And Carlos tucks back in behind him again. Right behind him, those Jeffrey Price, who's in that Audi, and he's looking like he wants to make a move here. Carlos flashing his lights there, a bit of gamesmanship going on. Deep under brakes here into the first chicane. He gets in there by a mile. Rolf has had to back out a bit, made him vulnerable there. Jeff Price goes through. So Rolf is now down to 17th position. As far as the front goes, Leonardo's still leading. That gap's 1.3 seconds out to Lance Hawes. And as I said, that gap back to third now is 4.3 seconds. See further up the track now, Martin Houston, Phil White in the team car colours there for Bike Row, I think it is their sponsor. They're just trying to put in the time. They are 30 seconds down from the lead. We've only done 3 laps here tonight, so that shows you how far this field is spread. And we've already had Kim Kyung Ao down a lap, but he's going to be in the pits for quite a while getting that car repaired. Further up here we can see Pete Sattler now trying around in Juno Lee, and right behind them is Min Park in the other Audi. So Pete's the first of our Ford GT3 drivers here tonight, and doing a great job. It's great to see a couple of Ford GT3s out there. They've been dropped from the official series, but it's great to see these guys having a run there. And there we can see Pete's got a good run on Juno, and he's tucked back in though. As you can see there, a fantastic move under brakes for Pete Sattler. Moves him up into 8th position now, and very confident under brakes in that Ford GT3. Last night we saw the V8 supercar guys had all sorts of trouble getting used to this track, but it's looking like the SRA Clubman guys are already been putting in quite a bit of practice here, and already putting in good lap times. The fastest lap of the race at this stage goes to Phil White. No, it doesn't, sorry. It goes to Lance Hawes with a 1:44.010. Don't know about you folks, but those Audis absolutely scream their heads off. But here we go, Pete Sattler now on Alex Pole for position. Oh, that was actually Andrew Booth, but Andrew's coming back on him under brakes. There was nearly contact there. Pete should get this, and he does. He cuts straight across the nose there of the number 92. Pete Sattler on the march, 22 seconds down from the leader, a lot of work to do. You can see in the background back there, I think that might have been Gary Cousins having a bit of a problem. Having a look up front here, just trying to work this out. My telemetry says we have Juno Lee leading, but he's not. He's in the pits, so Leonardo Lopez is leading this race, followed by Lance Hawes. Lance is starting to close in, 9/10 of a second last time by. Yeah, Gary Cousins is also in the pits. My overlays are doing all sorts of crazy things at this stage. And it looks like Adam Utri is also in the pits. So I've got the 24 in the pits, Juno Lee, the number 19, getting that car repaired, and that's pretty much the guys in the pits. Looks like we may have lost Gary Cousins. Looks like Gary has retired, unfortunately, and so has Juno Lee at this stage. With 34 minutes of racing to go, we've had 3 retirements, the 058, the 19 and the 04, Tom Callahan, who did not make the start. Looking at the live telemetry, the gap's about 1 second, but it looks a lot closer than that than the telemetry's telling us though, but we'll see if Lance can start to make inroads here on Leonardo Oliveira, who's led every lap tonight. We're into lap 6. We're expecting them to do about 26 laps of this race, and we'll see if any of these guys are going to go for a no-stop pit strategy. You can see there Niranjan Kumar. He's dropped off a bit, 4 seconds down, but still having a great drive there. And then we've got in 4th Nuno Pierre Tang in another Mercedes. So it's Mercedes, BMW, Mercedes, and then another Mercedes. So the Mercedes definitely look like the car of choice. First of the Audis, Alex Pole here having a great drive in the Delta Sim Sport Audi. We've seen this car in the Australian series, so it's great to see it out here tonight in the Sim Racers Asia series. So the field is absolutely well and truly spread out at the moment, a second separating a lot of these drivers. I'm trying to see where the battle is going on here, folks, but there's not a lot happening out there as far as battling. So you can see Phil White and his teammate Martin Houston here. They're 35 seconds off the lead, but let's jump back up here and keep an eye on. And there we go, we've got Nuno Pierre Tang around. And again, it looks like, I'll catch a replay of that, but it looks like it happened again under brakes. Yeah, he's just got that rear wheel on the grass, and once that happens, away she goes. Didn't cost him any positions, but he had a 9-second gap over Federico here, and we'll just have a look at that gap, 5.6 seconds, so it did cost him a good 2.5 seconds of that gap with that spin. So right now on board on the roof cam with Lance Hawes here in the Kimi Rural Fencing BMW. 262 kilometres an hour top speed here, braking heavily into the first chicane, and you can just see the power of that BMW under brakes. How it just starts to pull in the Mercedes, but expect once the Mercedes can stretch its legs, it will start trying to pull that gap out. Looks like Imola's very well suited to the BMW, especially under these heavy braking, but now look at that Mercedes stretching its legs as he starts to equalise that gap, and just starts to pull it out again before that BMW grabs him back under brakes again. It looks like the number 92 of Andrew Booth. Oh boy, Andrew's had a big one here. We'll see if we can pick up what exactly has happened to that car. Jumping back to the replay here. Again, he's got Pete Sattler right behind him. These guys, oh, it looks like Pete's run into the back of Andrew there, and big hit here for Andrew Booth into the fence. It's pretty much a passenger from here, folks. Not much you can do, but it looked like Pete had made contact, and it looks like Pete is off the track further up. Let's hope he can pull that car up, but unfortunately that is Andrew Booth's race done. So Leonardo's leading Lance at this point. Lance is starting to close that gap. Let's get it live. It's 0.5 of a second. So he's pulled out, or pulled in 0.3 of a second this lap, and he's definitely into that slipstream now. again under brakes. He's closing right up, but the Mercedes will be able to stretch its legs down the front straight here. You should see him pull out again, but keep an eye out for Lance when we come into this first chicane. Lance has got a run. He's having a look on the inside here. Leonardo outside, Lance inside, under brakes now. Can the BMW do it? No, he has to tuck back in. Leonardo fends him off once more. Oh, that's going to be very costly. Lance nearly lost it there, getting a bit eager, and he's just testing those tyres, and that's cost him quite a bit of time. All that hard work for naught. 1.6 seconds is that gap now. He's got to keep an eye on Narenjan here behind him. He's just stalking them. He's 4.3 seconds down, but if Lance has any more of those moments, he's going to come under attack. So folks, we had 24 starters. We are down to 20 cars. Our retirements tonight: Gary Cousins, Juno Lee, Adam Utri, Tom Callahan. Some of the guys that have been visiting the pit road tonight and in a bit of trouble: Kin Kyong Ao, Andrew Booth, and Mark Lang. The first of our stoppers tonight was Gene Newell. He's come in for his splash and dash so he can make it home from here. He's sitting in 18th and one lap down. His stop was a 36.5 second stop, so he's probably put in a bit too much fuel. And generally around here, when they come into the pits, take service and leave, they're going to lose a good 3/4 of a lap. So let's jump on board with Leonardo, and if you like the sounds of the Mercedes, folks, that growl, turn up your volume, and we'll do a lap around here in Imola. So you can see Lance Hawes putting a lot of pressure here on our race leader, Leonardo Oliveira. And I'll tell you what, Lance closed that gap up very quickly. He was down 1.2 seconds. That gap is within 1/10 of a second now, as he's got that BMW turning up the heat or the blowtorch on the back of Leonardo. So 22 minutes of this race left of 45 minutes. We're not quite to the halfway mark. 12 laps have been completed. We're expecting around about 26 laps here. We've had another pit stop. That was Nuno Pierre Tang. His stop was a 20.7 seconds stop. Kin Kyong Ao, well, he's 2 laps down. He's had to come in again to have that car looked at. But at the moment, Lance is starting to close in here, and he's just got to make sure he doesn't overcook it like he did last time. While these guys are battling, this is going to bring Niranjan Kumar into play here. He's 2.6 seconds down, so he has also started closing in on our race leader. Looking at the lap times, Leonardo won last time through 1:45.181. Lance Hawes did a 1:45.310. And then Niranjan, he's the fastest out there, a 1:44.831. Looks like we have had another retirement tonight, folks. Down to 19 runners. The latest retirement was the car 13, the Ford GT3 of Pete Sattler. So unfortunately, he's had to call it a night. So we see Lance Hawes there going off. That's cost him a position. Let's have a look at that on replay. Yeah, he's just lost that under acceleration, hasn't he? But oh boy, he's having a bit of a rough one out there. But he'll be sitting in third at this stage. So it looks like we've had a... just having a look at this, I think Leonardo, our race leader, is in the pits. He has pitted. My pit time here says 0.3 of a seconds, but it would have been longer than that. So Leonardo has pitted, and he was our race leader. He's just come out in front of Martin Houston, Phil White, so he's dropped down to 5th. And that means Niranjan Kumar is our new race leader, followed by Lance Hawes. Lance is down 8.2 seconds after that spin. Then we've got Frederico here in 3rd position. Min Park moves up to 4th as he has almost a lose there in the Audi, and he's the first of our Audis. And then we've got Leonardo. I'll give you a gap update once Leonardo gets across the line to just to see where it's going to shake out when these guys pit. But it's definitely coming into pit time as an Niranjan comes through again now to complete lap 15 here tonight at Imola. Just see that gap at the moment from Niranjan back to Frederico as he's coming across the line is 20.7 seconds. see Min Park now coming in to take his service. Looking at the times, Alex Pole has also pitted. He did a 4.4 second stop. We'll see how long Min's in here. It shouldn't be here very long. It's just 10 litres they need. 4.5 seconds was their pit stop. You can see Steve Bacade now just starting to close in on the back of Mark Lang, and I'm just trying to get a close-up of these cars to see if they're teammates. They definitely look like they're teammates. Yeah, definitely teammates. They're both carrying that crazy, I don't know what that is on the side. We can see also just up ahead, that's Andrew Booth. He's got that car repaired and circulating again. He's one lap down from that big crash he was involved with earlier on tonight with Pete Sattler, and Andrew's sitting in 18th at the moment. So the cars that have dropped a lap here tonight, the first of our lapped cars, Gene Newell in the 18, he's dropped a lap. Andrew Booth also has dropped a lap, and Kim Kyung Ao, we saw him in that big incident at the start, he has dropped 2 laps. That car behind our race leader at the moment is not for position, and I'm not sure who that car is. I think that is... no, it's not. Thought it might have been Bruno. So it's Carlos Fu. So Carlos Fu's just gone down a lap. So the car's on the lead lap. The top 14 on the lead lap. The last one on the lead lap is Rolf Just in the last of the 4 GT3s running here tonight. And he's 87 seconds down. And he's battling here with Alex Schung in the beautifully turned out Mercedes-Benz. Just said there, Alex, hold on to it, mate. No, unfortunately he didn't. He kept it off the wall though, but these cars, once they get loose, they're really hard to pull in. Let's make sure he gets that car back on the track safely, which he does. Good use of the F3 there, and he's back underway. Carlos Fu's also made his pit stop, 16.2 seconds, so pretty slow. The fastest ones out there at the moment is a 4.4 seconds to Alex Pole. Min Park did a 4.5 seconds. Some of the guys though, the slowest is Gene Newell, 36.5 seconds, so I'd say he's put in, he's probably overfilled that. So let's have a look at our live gap at the moment from race leader Naranjan down to Lance Hawes, 8.2 seconds. Looking at the last lap times, Naranjan did a 1:45.090. Lance Hawes a 1:44.835. He's taken just under 0.2 of a second out of the lead, but he's got a lot of work to do, and I don't think he's going to do it in the next probably about 8 laps of this race remaining. But the field is well and truly spread out now, folks. The gap from Frederico to first now. He is down 24 seconds to second place getter, Lance Hawes, but he's 33 seconds down from our leader. And then he's got a good lead of 13 seconds back to Leonardo Lopez. Leonardo's the first of the pit stops though, so if these guys ahead of him do stop, we can expect him to come back into contention here tonight. The question is though, are any of the guys ahead of him fuel saving? I think the only one that might be would be Frederico. He's lapping in the 146.227 compared to the other guys in the low 145s. And for that strategy to work, he can drop up to 1.4 seconds a lap to offset a pit time for him to make that strategy work. Also getting pretty dicey back here. Jeffrey Price having a look at the two team Mercedes ahead of him, and it looks like Phil White just ahead of him has had a bit of an issue with the front of his car, and of course he hasn't hit his teammate because that back of that car looks fine. And of course Martin and Phil being teammates, they've pretty much been driving nose to tail, not really fighting for that position, but Jeffrey Price, well, he's got this this Audi hooked up. Just see there Martin Houston letting Phil through, but now Phil's had a spin. Again, that just looks like it's been happening here under brakes, and these Mercedes are really struggling with the back end of these cars tonight. See here, Martin's let him through, but Phil's just gone in so hot. And just see again, under brakes, the back end goes around, and once it happens on the Mercedes, there's just no coming back from that. He was lucky he didn't get collected by his teammate. That's made Jeffrey Price's job a little bit easier. He's only got one Mercedes now to contend with. And he'd say thank you very much, I'll take that 5th position. Now he's trying to hunt down 4th. We'll also keep an eye on the top 3 at the moment. It looks like we have had another pit stop, and that was, just keeping an eye, Niranjan Kumar has stopped, and he's dropped back to 2nd, but he's had a, let's have a look, he's just coming out of the pits now, 7.7 seconds. Now we'll see where Leonardo is. Leonardo's just coming on to the straight now. Niranjan is just exiting, so that gives you a bit of an idea if Leonardo's early stop is going to work for him. And he has closed up, but not enough, so we'll see how Lance goes now. I'd expect Niranjan to come out in front of him if Lance has to stop. We've got 8 minutes of this race to go. So looking at your top 5 at the moment, folks, we've got Lance Hawes leading, followed by Niranjan Kumar, who has just stopped for service. Leonardo Lopez just behind him, also stopped for service. Martin Houston in 4th, he has not stopped. And then we have Phil White behind him. Looking at Jeffrey Price, he is in the pits now taking service. 7.3 seconds was his stop, and he's coming out in 10th position as Alex Pole goes past. Alex has also stopped. He did a 4.4 second pit stop. We've got Steve Burkade in now taking service. So it looks like the majority of people have to make this stop. Currently there's only 4 cars that haven't. That's Lance Hawes, our race leader, Martin Houston in 4th, Phil White 5th, and then Rolf Just down here in 12th in the Ford GT3, and he's about to go down a lap to our race leader, Lance Hawes. So as far as cars on the lead lap, we have 12 on the lead lap at the moment. The last one is Rolf Just, who's just ahead of our race leader. And we had 24 starts here tonight. Out of the 24, 4 have retired. Well, actually 5. Tom Callahan did not turn a lap here tonight, from what I can tell. He may have been involved in that first lap incident. We'll have a look at a replay shortly. We've also lost Adam Utri, Juno Lee, Gary Cousins, and our latest retirement is Pete Sattler in the Ford GT3. So looking at this gap at the moment, Lance Hawes, 30 seconds is that gap. The question is, can he get to the end, or does he have to pit? And I guess if I was his team manager, I'd be telling him to turn that mapping down and see if he can get home from here. But 6 seconds he's got, and he's probably got around about 6 minutes, sorry. It's about 4 laps of this circuit to run. So now as he's just passing Rolf Just there, so the 43 goes down a lap, and that means we've got 11 on the lead lap. See here, Mark Lang starting to close in on Frederico in 7th place. Looking at their lap times, Mark Lang did a 1:47.498 compared to Frederico's 1:48.408. So he's pulled in just under a second that last lap. Lance Hawes goes through once more, just over 4 minutes here. He's might be rolling the dice here tonight to see if he can get this car home without stopping. We should know in the next lap or so if he's going to have to bring that car in. We did see last night in the V8 Supercars some of the guys really rolling the dice, and some of them running out on the last lap, so let's hope we don't see that here tonight. The gap's coming down, 29 seconds is that gap, and so it looks like Lance is trying to get that car home without a stop. There's a few out there giving it a roll of the dice here. Martin Houston's also the other one, as well as Phil White, his teammate, sitting behind him. Both of those cars have not stopped, so I'd say team strategy for these cars is a no-stop strategy, and we may see that with our race leader as well. If he does have to stop, Lance will probably come out in about third or fourth position as he comes in, so he can't make it home, and we'll see where he comes out here. He had a gap of 29 seconds, but he may hold on to it, but it's going to be very close here. So Niranjan did a 7.7 second stop. He's coming around now, final corner, onto the straight. Lance is revving that car. He's sitting there. 7.8 seconds is the stop, and here comes Niranjan Kumar, and he's going to take the lead. And as Lance Hawes is still waiting to come out of the pits, and we'll see where Leonardo comes out. Here comes Leonardo. Lance could come. Yes, he does. He's dropped down to third. So with 2 minutes to go, Niranjan Kumar has snatched back that lead. Leonardo comes through to second, and Lance finds himself on the last step of the podium. And he's got a bit of a gap there, but yeah, it's a lot of work to do now. So the only cars that have not stopped here is Martin Houston, Phil White. Phil's just dropped a position here to Nuno. Nuno did stop. He did a long stop, 20.7 seconds. No fuel problems here. He's going to round up Martin Houston pretty quickly, because these guys, of course, running very light, but are trying to do this with no stops, and it just has not paid off tonight here at Imola. Just see the difference in speed here as Nuno is all over the back of Martin here, and Martin just has no way to defend because he's just trying to get this car to the finish. See there, Nuno now, he's on the outside. It's I tell you what, Martin's not making it easy for him, but now Nuno gets through and moves up to fourth position. So having a look at this gap at the moment, we can see Leonardo's just ahead of Lance Hawes, and this is for the battle for second position. The lap times, well, we'll get a proper lap time next time through, but Lance is definitely closing in on the back of Leonardo. But at the moment, it's all Niranjan Kumar, as he's now been advised this is the last lap here. They've completed 25, so our forecast of 26 laps is pretty accurate here. He's got a gap of 8.3 seconds. But let's get back to the action here with Lance and Leonardo. And the question is, can Leonardo hold Lance out? Keep an eye on our race leader. When he gets down to the last couple of corners, we will cross back to him, I assure you, so that our leader can be seen crossing the line. But at the moment, Lance Hawes has a lot of work to do if he wants to take a second position here. And I'll tell you what, that Mercedes is going to be really wide at this point in time. You can see now Niranjan Kumar coming into the final corner here, and he will take out round 3 of the Sim Racers Asia Clubman GT3 Series. Well done, Kumo, Niranjan, on your win tonight. Fantastic driving. Let's jump back here. Leonardo has held out Lance Hawes for second. Good driving there by Leonardo. And then Lance Hawes will finish our podium. Coming home in fourth, Nuno Piera. We saw him pass Phil White. That gap already, because Phil's trying to fuel save, 4.3 seconds. So the question's going to be, can Martin and Phil get those cars home without filling them, and can they hang on to 5th and 6th? You can See now Martin comes through to finish. Well done to Martin, and now Phil White also comes home in 6th. 7th though is Frederico. Coming home in 8th, just behind him Mark Lang, and then finishing in 9th will be the first of the Audis, Jeffrey Price. And rounding out our top 10 will be Alex Pole in the Delta Sim Sports Audi, and he finished 80 seconds down. And then home in 11th, and the last cars on the lead lap is Carlos Fu. Sorry, the last car on the lead lap is Bruno Cardoso, coming home in 12th in the BMW. So hopefully, folks, you enjoyed that race tonight. It was definitely very exciting here, and we had quite a few incidents throughout the race. We'll have a look at some of these replays before we go through the final finishing order here tonight. At the start, we had Kim Kyung Ao into all sorts of trouble from the restart, and unfortunately he came out in the field. So let's have a look at exactly what transpired here. Well, he's actually had a helping hand there, and heavily into the fence. I'll just try and get the car that hit him. I think it might have been the 77 that's given him a helping hand, but unfortunately he's come right out in the front, and that's how Phil White got his car damaged. And wow, look at that. Great driving by the rest of the field though to avoid that carnage. And both of Martin Houston and Phil White suffered from that, and that could explain their fuel saving strategy. So let's go through the final results here tonight for round 3. That's the wrong one. Okay, so our race win goes to Niranjan Kumar in the BMW Z4, followed by Oliveira in 2nd. Hawes comes home in 3rd, almost made it, just didn't have enough fuel for those final couple of laps. Nuno Tang home in 4th. 5th, Martin Houston, followed by his teammate Phil White in 6th. Frederico Teixeira home in 7th. 8th, Mark Lang in the BMW. Then the first of the Audis, Jeffrey Price in 9th, and Alex Pole in 10th position. Coming home in 11th was Carlos Fu, followed by Bruno Cardoso in 12th. 13th, Min Park, followed by Rolf Justin, the first of the Ford GT3s. Greg Newell comes home in 15th, followed by Andrew Booth. Andrew had quite a big accident earlier on tonight, but recovered and finished in 17th position. 18th goes to Alex Chung, and then 19th, Ao. First of our retirements tonight were Pete Sadler, Justin Lee, Gary Cousins, Adam Utri, and Tom Callahan. I'm not sure what happened to Tom there at the start of that race, but he did not complete a lap. I'm just having a look at our telemetry now before we go to interviews, and it just doesn't look like he might have made the start. Okay, let's go to our interviews, folks. We have in the combox, in the green room, Lance Hawes from Kimmy Rural's Fencing. Hi Lance, welcome to RRTV's commentary box. We thought you might have been trying to do that with no stops tonight, but it looks like you ran a bit short in fuel.
Yeah, hi Bernie. Yeah, I tried to. At the start, I wasn't gonna save any fuel and just go with Leonardo. But then after the my spin that I had, I thought I'll try and save fuel, but that wasn't enough. Ended up being 2 laps short.
Yeah, we thought you were going to pull something out of your hat there. I'll tell you what, the start tonight looked a bit disorganised. What did you think of it from your point of view?
Um, yeah, it was a bit strange because Peter didn't set off, so I think everyone in the left-hand lane wasn't too sure if they should go around him or not. And then all of a sudden, the seemed to take a long time for the green flag to wave.
Yeah, it certainly did. We saw that last night here at Imola as well, where it was almost like the green flag waved after the cars went across the start-finish line, and it looked similar tonight, so maybe that's something iRacing needs to look at.
Yeah, I was in that race last night as well, and they got rear-ended by about 4 different cars. So, yeah, it seemed to be about 5 meters away from the start-finish lines when the green flag went, so maybe iRacing needs to have a look at that.
Yeah, I think so. There was a bit of carnage tonight in the first chicane. How'd you go with that? Did you manage to avoid all that?
Yeah, I managed to get through it. I just stuck behind the guy in second. I think it was Nirigen. And then I just heard all the banging behind me.
Yeah, there was the poor Kim Kyung-ao. He came out in the middle of the field there, and the field did well to avoid him, but Martin Houston, Phil Just, they were involved in it, and it spread the field out. But well done tonight. You looked very strong there in the BMW. As far as BMW versus V8 supercar at Imola, which one do you think's best suited for this track?
I'm more used to the GT3 car, so I'll probably always say the GT3. But the V8 wasn't too bad. I felt the probably the track suited the V8 with the lines a lot better than the GT3. Felt a bit awkward. Burrell was braking, then had to turn in.
Yeah, it looked like, comparing the BMW to the Mercedes, though, it looked like, as always, that BMW is so strong under brakes there. You're pulling in, I think it was Leonardo at one point, hand over fist. But it just seems like the Mercedes, down that straight, just pulled out that gap a little bit.
Yeah, I was having that issue at Road America as well. I had the damage at Road America, but yeah, the BMW is really good on the brakes at turning in the mid corner, but once it's exit and the straight, I just can't keep up with that Mercedes.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way, but Lance, well done, mate. Third position tonight, and a good strong race. Before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Thanks to Kimmy's Rural Fencing, good Simability, Sanders, and Computer Shop.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week. Not sure where we're going for round, I think it's round 5 next week. I might be wrong, but we look forward to hopefully seeing you back on the grid then.
Yeah, cheers, Bernie. I'll be here.
So, folks, that was Lance Hawes from Kimmy Rural Fencing. And next interviews, Martin Houston, Phil White. These guys did not do a pit stop. The only team out there to no stop it tonight. And they came home 5th and 6th. Hi Martin and Phil, welcome to the RRTV Combox. We had a look at the replay of that start, and unfortunately it looks like both of you guys suffered from that incident.
Yeah, I have to admit it felt like someone parachuted in from a long way back to cause mine, and it looks like Phil had a separate incident in front.
Yeah, sorry Phil, Yeah, we had a look at that replay, and Kim Au, he had a bit of a helping hand there, and he was a bit of a passenger, unfortunately, once he got into that grass, and unfortunately came out in the middle of the field there.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look back at the replay fully yet, but it did feel like I got punted by a few from behind who probably would have had yellows by then. That would be my guess.
Yeah, well, you had one car, I think it was yours. You had a car at one point right up underneath your rear wheels, and you're
Yep.
yeah, you're getting a helping hand there. That's big time.
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of grass there for a minute. I thought I was done for the day. Fortunately, it came back down on the wheels.
Yeah, we were waiting for the roll, but it didn't happen, fortunately. And Phil, it looked like you were involved at the tail end of that accident.
It was actually a completely different accident. I just had a quick look back. It was between myself and Gary Cousins. We just were pretty tight going through that first chicane, and he just clipped the back side of me. He had nowhere to go, and yeah, span me. So a bit unfortunate, I think. So, but happy with how he came back at the end. It was good fun, actually.
Yeah, it was a good strategy. Both of you team drivers did not have to stop tonight. You're the only guys out there that didn't stop. How'd you feel that strategy played out for you guys?
In a word, it was quite horrific. We were chatting amongst ourselves quite a bit, but I probably did the last 10 laps maybe, driving in map 1, using about third to half throttle, and most of the lap in 6th gear.
Yeah, I thought I had heaps of fuel left until I looked with 5 laps to go, so I had to really cut it down. So it was pretty touch and go. I was actually coughing before the finish line at the end there.
Yeah, we were worried about it for a while, and then we did a bit of had plenty of time on the straight to think about it because we were going so slow, and we realised that I think it was Nuno was eventually going to get us, but the next guys, as long as we didn't run out of fuel, the next guys had no hope. So you would have seen our lap times drop off quite a lot from that point, I think. And we just basically tried to limp it home.
Yeah, I think the last laps, you dropped at least 4 seconds in that last lap. But we saw Nuno first round up Phil, but you didn't make it easy for him, Martin.
Well, yeah, there's no free passes. They kept it nice and clean, but yeah, it made him think about it. To be honest, I was a little bit surprised he went up the left-hand side, given how skatey that left-hander is at the top of the hill. But yeah, once he did, I still was. I didn't accelerate any harder than I had previous laps, so he had an opportunity to get through without putting either of us at too much risk. But yeah, when you've been driving around on a monorail for that long, it was good to actually have a car to sort of try and battle with.
Yeah, and looking earlier in the race as well, Phil, we saw you. I don't know if it was team orders or not, but you passed your teammate there until you got into the next corner, and I was holding my breath when you lost the rear end of that car because I thought you're going to run into the side of Martin.
Yeah, that was actually pretty scary. Yeah, it was a calculated team order. Yeah, we thought I had the pace, and I think just I was watching him a little bit too much and went a little bit too deep into that corner, so I was very lucky not to clean up muddy then. So, and I think I can't remember who was battling with us, but I think he got a bit of a scare as well at the time.
Yeah, it was fortunate you sort of just parked it there on the island and the guys got through. But was that actually team orders, Martin? Did you step aside?
Yeah, absolutely. We knew that we were going to have to. Well, I at the time I was looking at being, I think, a half to 3/4 of a lap short on fuel, and Phil was saying that he was up, and so we knew that the best move would be to let him go, and at best me draft him and try and make a bit of an economy. But we knew if we did that in the straight that we'd probably both get cleaned up at the first turn, so we just decided to surprise Jeffrey by doing it in that corner where I could just move to the left and let Phil go around, but unfortunately he went that little bit too far around.
Yeah, he certainly did. We were watching that, and I tell you what, Phil, you had those front discs absolutely glowing as you went in so deep into that corner. But we noticed a few Mercedes tonight losing their rear end, and it looks almost like that's the biggest weakness of the Mercedes.
Yeah, I just didn't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like for me personally, this car on this track, I just had no confidence the whole week that I've been driving on it, and yeah, you really have to be really easy on the throttle on the exit, and yeah, definitely it is a lot loose in the back, and I couldn't get rid of that in the setup at all. So it was quite scary actually.
Yeah, we know.
Sorry, Bernie. I was just going to say, yeah, it seems to be a car that's rewarding getting off the brakes and back onto the throttle before you even turn into the apex, which is quite it's an interesting mindset to get into. But once you do, the first 3 corners certainly become just a throttle control exercise of never actually going full, never lifting off, just using the back end to turn the car almost. It's quite a weird experience, but it does mean on particularly hairpin exits and so on, if you sneeze, you're off the track.
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw. It almost looked like if you were a bit hard on the brakes coming into the corner, once that rear end came around on you, you were pretty much done. I don't think I saw any of the guys really recover from that tonight.
Yeah, that'd be about what we saw as well. We did notice a few. There were a few cars off the side of the road in various places, so I imagine the broadcast must have been pretty entertaining to watch.
Yeah, hopefully the viewers enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed calling it. It was quite an exciting race, especially with as the pit strategies unfolded amongst all the drivers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched back last week's broadcast. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get on afterwards. I think there was a password issue or something. But yeah, this race for us followed the pattern that the others have, at least for me, that some sort of incident in the first lap and a half, and then just get back via attrition up into the sort of top 5 or so. Last week was looking quite good with Mark Lang sitting on my rear bumper until I realised I was going to be short by about what I reckon would be about 100 mil worth of fuel, and had to pit on the last lap. But this week around we made it, so it was excellent.
Yeah, fantastic, and you're right. I think all the rounds we've called always starts with a big incident, and then it sort of spreads the field out, and then we're into some good racing for the next 43 minutes.
Yeah, and decent, good stuff to cover as well, with the people doing some quite unusual things, I think, with the speed differentials and the pit strategies and so on. Oh
yeah, definitely. But we should wrap this up, guys. Who wants to give a shout out to their sponsors?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first off, I want to thank Mark and the Sim Racers Asia for hosting the series, and yourselves at RRTV for doing yet another excellent broadcast. And our main sponsor is Bike Factory Outlet, which is 3 bicycle shops based in Melbourne, Australia. And we've sort of been racing for a couple of years under that banner. So I want to thank Phil, who manages one of the stores, as one of our key sponsors.
Fantastic. And does your sponsors have a website where viewers can go if they're interested in getting a bike?
Yeah, definitely do, mate. Yeah, bikefo.com.au. Yeah, so we ship to all across Australia, and I don't know how many sim racers ride push bikes, but I'm the man to help you out if you need one. So
yeah, well, I'm not sure if it's normal, but I know in our team Redback Racing we've got 2 guys. One rides mountain bikes, the other one does the road side of things. And so I think there'd be a few guys out there.
Yeah, it gets pretty addictive once you get into it. It's not too late for you, Bernie.
Oh, yes, it is, mate. It's way too late for me. But the closest I ever get to a bike is watching the Tour de France. It's about it for me.
So you're staying up late tonight to watch the next stage, are you?
Yeah, I'll be watching that. Apparently it's going to be a real ripper, so I'm looking forward to catching the last 40Ks of that. But anyway, guys, thanks for popping in. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and next round we go to Road Atlanta, so hopefully we'll see you guys take to the grid.
Cheers, mate.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bernie. Have a good night.
Thanks, Bernie. Cheers, mate. Bye.
So, folks, that was Martin Houston. Phil White from the Bike Factory Outlet sponsored Mercedes racing team. They finished in 5th and 6th tonight. Well, that pretty much wraps up our coverage tonight of the Sim Racers Asia Clubman GT3 series. We will be back next Saturday night to cover round 4, and we will be coming to you from Road Atlanta, which should be give us some quite good racing, hopefully. But I normally say at this point, on behalf of myself and the other commentator, we wish you a good night, and we thank you for tuning in. We hope you had a good time, and we hope you can join us next week at what time is it? 10:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. But anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you all a good night, and we will see you next time.